soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Letting go of what you think of me. Hey everybody, Joe Simons, Like Diamonds, back again, Salt Strong Unchurched. This is probably one of the toughest things for me, for probably a lot of you. And it's one of the things I'm probably most just insecure about. And it's doing things that maybe I'm not the best at, or things that there's other people watching me. And sometimes it's gotten the best of me. And there's been a couple things here, even this year, where I've kind of had just to step into it, even though, you know, my initial reaction was a little bit of anxiety and fear, and like just really insecurity is really what it comes down to. And it's how am I going to look? That's what it always comes down to. And so many of us, and just Americans in general, really the whole world, but Americans are probably more notorious for it, you know, of buying things that we don't need, or dressing in certain ways because other people do, or, you know, getting bigger houses or more expensive cars or jewelry, whatever it is, just because it's all about the impression. And it's an insecurity of, man, what are people going to think about me if, you know, I go to wherever, the store, the mall, church, you know, wearing this, or with these cheap old ratty shoes, or whatever it is, right? I mean, we spend so much time preoccupied about what people are going to think about us, right? And what if I show up with this person? What are my friends going to think, or what are they going to think? Well, if they're really your friends, they're probably going to love you either way. And I think about this a lot, because I'll just tell you, one of the instances happened here just this week, and it was at the gym. I've been going to the gym in the mornings, which has been great. And there's this group of pretty ripped dudes, I guess is the best way to say it, who could probably just pulverize me. And I'm not some like super scrawny, weak guy. I mean, I'm fairly strong and can do pretty well on weights, but these guys are just at a next level. And I had I'm actually following a routine. And I'm looking at my phone to see what I need to do next, and it's right near these guys. The machine is wide open, by the way, there's no one using it, but they're right there next to it. And I hesitated, and I was like, oh, I'll do something else until they leave, because I was like so worried about, oh man, these guys are going to think I'm a puny little punk when I'm only doing 50 pounds when they could be doing 80 or 100. It's the small stuff, right? That, like, how many decisions are we making in a given day where maybe we back out of something or don't do it, really because of that fear. And it was an insecurity feel. And I'm willing to admit it, because I know that's how we all get better and stronger. And I, you know, and then I see other people in the gym that are just way weaker than me, and maybe are just learning how to work out, and they could care less. And I was like, man, I wish I wish I was that secure in myself, where I could just go do it and don't really care what people look or how I look, or what people are saying about me. And I had another one. I got invited here. It hasn't happened yet, but it's coming up pretty soon. And I got invited by a buddy to go to this event where it's going to be a lot of really top, like, high-end entrepreneurs, some people who have, you know, sold their businesses for, you know, even $1 billion, et cetera. And I'm going to be, you know, a pretty much low man on the totem pole in terms of you know, running a business, at least size-wise and net worth and all that. And some people would that have, man, just no qualms. They'd be so excited because it's such a cool opportunity. I'm probably going to be able to meet some great people, and I am going to go. I did say yes, but my first thought, like, all these fears started just rushing through me when I got the invite, and I was like, all right, what are they going to think of me? Like, yeah, and then they're going to, oh man, you're just, you know, the founder of a little fishing club. You know, because a lot of I'm talking like, and I'm not going to say what companies, but some big names like services and stuff that you use, that people around the country and the world use. There's going to be some really, really big hitters there. And I know I was so worried about what they were going to think of me versus just going in with, wide open eyes and acting like I'm the most important person in the room. It's so tough to do that all the time. And there's some days where I just have confidence just oozing out and nothing's bothering me. And there's some days like that where I just let a little bit of fear and insecurity come in. And there's a couple, obviously, bad things that happen with that. One, you're not living your best life when you're making decisions out of fear or insecurities, or out of, hey, what's so-and-so, or what are these people, usually complete strangers, going to think of me? Or what is their impression going to be of me? Are they going to make fun of me? Am I going to look silly? Am I going to look like, a newbie or a noob? That's sad, right? Because you're never really learning to grow and to do things new if you always have that mindset. And it's a shame. And right. And what's funny is, like when you're a kid, that's not there. This is something that just happens over time. And sometimes it's an experience, or usually a bad experience. It's kind of always in the back of your head. It's like, oh man, I don't want that to happen again, where people laughed at you. And we've all had some of those moments. But think about it as a kid, right? When you're 12 months old, you're falling down left and right when you now see an infant or a toddler walking for the first time. They could care less what others think of them, even though literally people are laughing at toddlers, right? Falling on their little tush. And you're literally getting laughed at, and the little toddlers just keep smiling, just keep getting right back up and doing it. And if only we all had that same, that mindset and that same ability, that would be awesome. But the two, and this is, to me, why I'm even talking about this and kind of sharing it, and why I think it's so important to not live your life out of any insecurity like that, is it takes away your ability to serve. And what I mean by that, and I'm not talking about just serving in a church or serving on a board, just serving people in general. I think it's what we're all called to do, is to be helpful. And it's the reason I do these podcasts. I'm not getting paid to do these. These are things I do on the side because I feel like I'm called to serve. And every time I do serve, I feel better. There's nothing like it, right? I mean, it's the ultimate way of giving. And sometimes serving means literally serving, homeless people food. Sometimes it means surprising someone with a gift, or even surprising someone with a phone call or a text out of the blue. I mean, there's a million different ways you can serve. But usually when you're acting out of fear and insecurities, you're not serving. It's really kind of tough to do both. And for instance, let's just take like that event. There might be someone there that God really wants me to meet, that I might be able to serve, or they might be able to serve me. Who the heck knows? But I do know that when you're just constantly looking for validation, or you're insecure about what people think, and you're not being yourself, it's really tough to serve and to do the things that God has called us to do. And so I wanted to share that with you. It's been on my heart. And like I said, I had a couple of these instances here recently where I've either tried to got out of things, or have been just like, even the gym thing where I just avoided it. And by the way, I did avoid it. If you're wondering, did I go do the exercise? No, I did avoid it. And I feel like, I feel like an idiot for doing that, but just being honest with you, there's been a couple of these instances where I'm making poor decisions, things that I normally wouldn't do. Like, had there been none of those guys there, I just would have done it. Wouldn't even thought twice about it. But all of a sudden I was now acting out of insecurity, or what are these guys going to think of me? And, what if I drop one of these weights on me? How am I going to look? And when you start making decisions like that out of insecurities, you're one. I mean, that's how regrets come up, right? I mean, even as I'm talking about it, I'm regretting, like, man, why did I do that? I mean, no one wants to live a life with regrets. And the only way to do that is to challenge yourself. The only way to grow is to do hard things, which is what I tell my kids all the time. And ultimately, don't give any concern for what others think of you, unless you're talking about God, right? I mean, at the end of the day, God is the one judging us and looking down on us. And I'm sure it pains him to think that I'm even contemplating going to this, what I would call a pretty awesome opportunity event to be around people that, that I'm sure I could learn a ton from, and it might even form some new relationships. I remember there was an event back in Tampa. We really struggled to meet friends in Tampa. I was all in on Salt Strong. It was really the first year and a half of Salt Strong. We lived in Tampa there. And, and we were more in like that South Tampa, Hyde Park area. It's kind of a fast moving. It's not like being way out in the suburbs where you get to meet a lot of your neighbors. It's definitely more of a fast moving type of area. My wife had just started her new business. And so we were just working nonstop and really struggled to meet friends. A lot of the people that were there were established. They've all known each other. And so we got Shauna into a little small Christian school down there, a little private school. And we realized pretty quickly that everyone kind of knew each other and we were the new people there. And so right off the bat, they had some event and, it's for all the parents to meet each other. And like, I did not want to go. And my wife didn't really want to go either. And a lot of it was, I absolutely hate going to places where I know no one. It's another insecurity. Like, man, are they going to look at me? I'm sitting in the corner, not knowing anyone. And as gregarious as I can be around people I know and sometimes be even the center of attention with no problem, it's tough for me just to go into a random place like that where everyone knows each other and they've all got, sometimes 10, 15, 20 years of history, sometimes even more. A lot of these people all grew up there and went to school with each other. And now their kids are all going to school together. And so I'd already seen that at just some of the like little Friday events where the parents get together. It was really tough to get in these cliques. And it was like everyone was in a clique except for us. And so I literally did not want to go. I'm fighting this all week. I'm like literally obsessing, getting sick to my stomach. Saying, I don't want to go to this. I'm trying to just find any excuse not to go. Maybe I'll get sick and I won't have to go Friday night. And I didn't get sick and we had to go and I'm just dreading it. My wife is now kind of more pulling me. She's like, we have to go meet some friends. Like, all right, you know what? I'm going to put my big boy pants on and we're going to meet some friends. And we're sitting there in the front room, right when we get in, and everyone's already in deep conversations. And I was like, here we go. And so I was like, all right, let's go walk around. I'm talking, there was no one standing by themselves. Everyone's you don't just go into a party and just butt into these deep conversations. Everyone's dressed up, wearing jackets. This is a pretty formal thing. So imagine walking into this room, you're already dreading it. And you go into the front, it's someone's really nice, gorgeous multi-million-dollar house. And the whole first foyer, everyone's, got their little cocktails and they're already in deep conversations. And there's nowhere to we don't recognize anyone. And so these are all the different parents from all the different grades. I'm like, great. All right, let's keep walking around. Go to the next room. It's the same thing. And I'm like, babe, let's just leave. Let's get out of here. And we'd already valeted the car. This is not something you just leave. And I knew we couldn't. And so we finally make it this back room. And they had a video playing of the school. And it was kind of dark back there. And I was like, all right, this is it. Maybe we'll just have a drink back here and just kind of hide for a bit. And as we're sitting there kind of watching this movie of the schools, it was some fundraising thing for all the parents. There's this other couple who's not talking to anyone. And they look, our same age. And I was like, hey, guys. I was like, I don't remember what I said to them. Were you around here? But we ended up having the best conversation and ended up, I exchanged numbers with the guy because, he liked fishing and he played, college baseball and just someone that we had so much in common with. And ironically, they had just moved down to Tampa from New Jersey area. And so they were also just like us, didn't know anyone. So we had that in common. And we're like, yeah, it's been really tough to meet anyone here because everyone's got their own clique. So we essentially formed our own little group and ended up bringing another couple into that was also kind of new from there. And long story short, this evening that I did not want to go to, their name's Chris and Diane, and they're still our friends to this day. We still text with them. We still send Christmas cards, even though they still live in Tampa and we're obviously here in Winter Haven. Still catch up with them, and when we're in Tampa for that Davis Island area where they live, we'll make a point to stop in and say hello. And they become like genuine good friends all from that one moment. And our kids have gotten to know each other, and who knows what will happen and where we might cross paths again in this life. But I mean, we spent a lot of time with them in our time there, and it was all from us being bold enough and not being so worried about being insecure. And I probably would have had a blast just sitting at home in our pajamas and having a glass of wine and watching a movie or something like that night. But looking back, I was like, man, we would have missed out on a really, really special friendship, right? I mean, that cool. And so that's the reminder I always have to tell myself when I don't want to do something that I know I probably should. One, like it's that regret. I don't want to have the regrets. And two, like, just make the best of it. And three, you just never know the people that you're going to meet, the relationships that you build, and the people that you're going to be able to serve. And I have been able to help them out, and they've been able to help me in a couple of different ways over the years. And so it's so neat how God works and how introductions like that happen, and how it all just happened in that one dark room where we were just trying to avoid everyone. And there happened to be that one other couple who needed us just as bad as we needed them, because they didn't know anyone either. And we're kind of just sitting there in that back dark room by themselves, hoping and praying they're going to stumble across someone who wasn't already in deep conversation with, a long established relationship. So, so many of those stories to share. I'm sure you have them as well. And I would just urge you, if you're hearing this and anything's kind of ringing a bell or sounds familiar, if you have that moment or those moments that come up where you're deep down you need to make a different decision than what your fear or your insecurities are telling you to, just dive in. I mean, that's really where the magic happens. Anytime even for me, the public speaking is still tough, even though I do it and people say, man, you're good at it. I don't feel that way. It's an insecurity for me. And every time I've been invited to speak somewhere, like, my initial reaction is, no, don't do it, Joe. You could look like a fool. You're going to look like an idiot. And every time I've just gone ahead and said, yes, I'll do it. And even though I might be literally sick to my stomach before I go on, which I usually am, every time I get done, it's just like a magical feeling. And I'm like, so glad I did it. And I usually, once again, have another awesome connection, or someone comes up to me and says, like, I feel like you were speaking to me, and I'm able to serve, which is really what it all comes down to. So I hope this was helpful. Hopefully you got some laughs out of my insecurities, even the gym one. I mean, it sounds so silly. And so if you see me at the gym, build my confidence up. Tell me I look buff or something like that. So guys, love you, appreciate you. I will talk to you in the next episode. And as always, here's my private email. If you have any fun stories to share, any thoughts on this, it's Joe, Joe, @saltstrong.com.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul, it was pain.